April 6, 2:52 PM, outside Grand Tower, temporary film lot. Hello everyone, Triple S back as my Eastern Investigations, Miles Edgeworth, Prosecutor's Path. Last time was a very long episode, and the final logic chesses of the game. Although you would have thought maybe the final section of the game would have been like one really long, really hard logic chess to like round it off, since it was a new mechanic and stuff, but I guess not. And anyway, last time, was like Sebastian got kidnapped, and we're trying to find John as well, and then we found Sebastian and saved him and showed him the way, and he helped us get his father sent down, it seems like actually proved that it was his father who did a lot of bad stuff. And then Patricia Rowland as well. Yeah, it was a good time last time, just really long and tiresome, and yeah. So hopefully the next bunch of episodes should be a little bit shorter, so let's see. Could you please give it a rest already? The heck? I'm telling you all, it's best for all y'all's sake to come clean. The staff has their lips sealed shut as the reporters concede their tenacious negotiations. If you're not here to cooperate with the investigation, I must ask you to vacate the premises. Put a sock in it, copper. Y'all couldn't even stop Mozilla's invasion. Not only did they secretly raise the giant monster, but now the staff is trying to cover it up. Like I said, we haven't been raising any monsters here at the film lot. But ain't you said you done saw Goddy yourself? Sure, I saw it, but it's not like we were keeping it at the film lot. Mind if we butt in? The whole crew. Ah, Miss Edgeworth. And John. Oh, y'all come here to search for the monster too? We're searching for a criminal, not a monster. Lang Z says, the darkness inside a criminal's heart can be likened to a monster. Well, when it comes to killing people, criminals aren't much different from monsters. Agent Lang, this is a problem. Can't let outsiders enter the crime scene. These are all key figures in the case. I'd like them to be here when the investigation resumes. Agent Lang, regarding what you said about resuming the investigation, where do you intend to start? We'll start by reviewing the case. Today, the body of President Huang was found here at the film lot. The President's whereabouts from 2 nights ago were still unknown. It seems he snuck out from under the eyes of his bodyguards and ventured outside. And that tonight was the last time he was seen alive. It was when he met with you, Judge Courtney, on the roof of the Grand Tower. So, why did you meet with the President? That, I cannot say. You can't tell us, even under suspicion of murder? Can't say. Why not? Miss Courtney, if you don't say anything, you'll only be more suspicious. Ha! She must have a reason to clam up. I think you're somehow involved in the President's assassination. The President's body was only discovered today. That still leaves a blank of 1 whole day after Judge Courtney met with him unaccounted for. Don't be so impatient. We're going to fill in that blank right here, right now. The evening on that blank day in question is what's important. What happened here last night? So why don't you tell us, John Marsh? Me? We know you were here last night. What? John was here? Between that little Missy's testimony and the footprints we found, we can easily prove it. John, you were here rehearsing. You were rehearsing here last night, right? I said here twice. You were spying on me? I'm sorry. I just came to check up on things. You really shouldn't be staying up so late, you know? Mind your own business. John Marsh, that young lady was worried about you. You will not speak to her like that. Sorry. How many times have I told you to be more mindful of the way you speak? Is it just me, or does Miss Courtney's personality seem kind of different? She seems to be as strict with her own son as she is with those who violate the law. Are you listening to me? And earlier as well. You should always bear that in mind, no matter the occasion. Can we get on with the investigation already? But pardon me. For Judge Courtney to get carried away like that, this must be her motherly side. Agent Lang, do you suspect John? All I want is the truth. Why was the president killed? And I want to know who killed him. I'll do whatever it takes to find out. It seems the president was like family to him. John, would it be alright if we asked you a few questions? Sure, it's fine. I've got nothing to hide anyway. John's rehearsal. I wasn't feeling too great during yesterday's shoot, so I made a few bloopers. They're reshooting the scene today, so... well, I decided to rehearse a little on my own. That's all. I do it all the time. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary. You were rehearsing alone that late at night? John, when I called you last night, you told me you were at the hotel. You called him? About what time was that? I believe it was around 11 PM. I require him to call me every night. That's our rule whenever he stays away from home. The truth is, I was at the film lot during that time. So you lied to me. I'm sorry. Miss Courtney sure is angry. I think it's admirable that he practiced on his own, even if he hid it from his mum. I'm sure she was simply worried. Who knows what could have happened to him out alone so late at night? And in reality, he did get caught up in yesterday's incident. But John said there wasn't anything out of the ordinary, right? Is that really the truth? Rebuttal! Okay, so we gotta go. I do it all the time, there wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And we present his video, wherever that is. Is that it? John's practice video. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary? That's a lie, isn't it? We have evidence right here. Could that be? That's right, it's the video you recorded of your performance. What? You're telling me you have video from last night? Exactly, and in this video, there is clearly something that is out of the ordinary. This is a monster's footprint. Would you say that monster's footprints are commonplace on a film set? John, why did you conceal this video from us? No reason, really. Hey, pup, this is no joking matter. You had a reason to hide it, right? John Marsh, answer him clearly. But Mom... Well... I didn't want anyone to see me rehearsing. In other words, you're embarrassed about others seeing you practice. Yeah, got a problem with that? You're saying that's why you hid the evidence? John. Eep! Quit nagging me. You've already busted me. What more do you want? Yeah, the footprints were there, but I just practiced and headed home. How come you're so calm after finding those footprints? It's a monster, you know. A real live monster. I thought it was just a part of the set. Besides, there's lots of other weird stuff around here too. Suspicious, Chief. This kid's really suspicious. You're right. The smell of a scoop stinks to high heaven. Shut up. We're done talking. We're not done here yet. What now? The monster's footprints weren't the only unusual things that happened last night. Besides the monster's footprints, what other unusual thing happened last night? Where would it be? Mozilla's head! His big massive head! A monster's head fell from the roof of that building. Surely you must have known about that. I don't know anything about it. Is that true? I told you, I just practiced a bit and then I went back. Don't know anything about Mozilla's head falling or anything like that. Oh. Do you have evidence to show that I know something? There certainly isn't any evidence of that. It's also possible that it fell after John had already gone back. If there's no evidence, then like I said, we're done talking. Seems that John doesn't really want to talk about last night. Could he be hiding something, after all? Wait up. Agent Lang? It's as I thought. Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. This video backs up my logic. Huh? Is there something in the video that's related to the case? Yeah. Take a good hard look at that monster costume up in the top left. The Mozilla costume? Try comparing it with the one over there right now. Looks like it's just hanging there limply though. And the zipper on its back is zipped up tightly. The zipper on its back? What? This discrepancy is... Yeah, the difference is plain to see. In the video, the zipper is clearly open. That's right, someone was inside. What? Mr. Powers, is the costume zipper usually... It's always zipped up tightly when it's not in use. Mr. Prosecutor, do you remember my logic from before? 2 nights ago, Courtney pushed the President off the roof and killed him. Afterwards, she snuck into the film lot to hide the body. In here? Wouldn't it be easy to hide a body in a costume or behind all this equipment? Then all she had to do last night was retrieve the body. You're saying the body was hidden inside the costume? Yeah, that's right. Judge Courtney. 2 nights ago, you pushed the President off the roof of the tower. You then hid the body inside the monster costume. I did no such thing. Say what you want, but you're the only one who could have done it. That should have already been proven impossible. The film lot was locked at the time. Judge Courtney could not have entered this place. And what if there was an accomplice? What? I'll tell you my reasoning, so listen up. Here we go. Testimony. Mother and son theory. When the President was pushed off the roof, John was waiting at the film lot. If John was an accomplice, the problem with the locks would be resolved. The two of them then hid the President's body. Inside that monster costume, over there. You think this crime had such an elaborate plan? To take the life of the nation's president, an elaborate plan is to be expected, don't you think? John would never take part in such a crime. You're the one being suspected. Your words don't carry much weight. I don't think those two had sufficient motive for something like this, though. Well, maybe they had a motive that we didn't know about. You were the last one to meet with the President, and you're still keeping the details secret. Don't you think it's only natural that you're being suspected? Judge Courtney, is there no way for you to tell us your secret? My apologies, I just cannot, no matter what. However, when the time I can talk about it comes, I will surely let you know. So, if you could please... Believe you? Is that what you wanted to say? That's what all criminals say. And you, pup, if you've got an explanation, hurry up and spit it out. I didn't do nothing. That's all I'm saying. Both mother and son won't talk. You still gonna defend them like this? It's true Judge Courtney's actions are a mystery. However, we still don't know whether or not that ties in with a motive for murder. Yeah, that's right. The motive for murder can wait. For now, let's talk about the situation surrounding the crime. And the fact that these two are the only ones who could have done it. Right, we've got to press that inside that monster costume over there. Yep. In the video, we cannot see the inside of the costume. So can you really say for certain that the body was placed inside? Yeah, I'll give you that much. In that case, why don't we try examining it? The inside of that costume. There might be some traces left inside. Mr. Powers, maybe examine the inside of the costume. Sure, go ahead. But it might be kind of stinky, since I sweat a lot in there. This is incredibly dirty. That's strange. We always make sure to clean it after using it, so that the sweat doesn't damage the costume. Isn't this just proof that someone besides you used this costume? I'd say that dirt from the body probably got into the costume. The president's body did fall on top of the monster's footprint. That must be where the dirt came from. Are you satisfied now? Right. There's dirt inside the costume. It must have gotten there when the body was hidden inside. We present, wherever they are, the crime scene notes. There they are.
Objection!
Dirt got onto the costume when the body was hidden inside it. Is that really the case? You have a problem with that? There is a fair amount of dirt inside the front of the costume. Yeah, that is a lot of dirt. However, I would like you to focus on the state the body is in. It's lying on top of the dirt, and yet there's no dirt on the front of the body. If the body really was inside the costume, then it's strange that the front of the body isn't stained with more dirt. Well then, how would you explain it? How did the dirt get inside the costume? From the video footage, it's very likely that someone was inside the costume. But just who could it have been? Where have I seen this? What's the matter, Kate? I just feel like I remember seeing something that looked like this dirt somewhere before. But where was it? There were these bits of grey fragments mixed in with the dirt. Grey fragments? It just seemed to be something other than normal dirt mixed into it. Something must have gotten stuck to it, and lots of it I might add. Something got stuck to it. This may merit a closer look. Where did we see dirt that looks like what's stuck on the inside of the costume? Where? Oh, really? Oh, true! This dirt has some grey bits mixed into it. Huh? And what of it? We found an item belonging to a certain man that was covered in the same type of dirt. That is to say, these gloves. Those dirt stains certainly look the same. Tell me, just what exactly is this grey substance? This grey substance is plastic, concrete, paints. Concrete. This grey substance must be fragments of concrete. You mean the stuff that was scattered around the monster's footprints? Exactly. Meanwhile, who do these gloves which are stained with the same kind of dirt belong to? I remember. We found it at Blaze's place. Earlier today we went to Blaze's garage. There we discovered these dirt-stained gloves. Come to think of it, there were also hammers, shovels and other tools placed inside as well. Why would mechanics' gloves, intended to be used on machines, be covered in dirt? If he broke the concrete with the hammer, and then dug into the soil with the shovel, then it's only natural for dirt like that to get on the gloves. Then maybe... Yep, the true nature of the monster's footprints has been made clear. It's possible that these footprints were dug up by Blaze the Best himself. It's possible? It's possible, you say? Please do enlighten me, because I honestly have no clue. Why on earth would he do something like that? Why did he make the monster footprints? Thinking about it, the answer must be he was digging something up, he buried something. Oh, apparently he was digging something up. It's possible he was digging something up. Probably went something like this. Last night at this spot, there was something that Blaze needed to dig up. For that reason, he broke the lock on the back door and sneaked into the film lot. Using the hammer and shovel, he set to work. He placed the items he dug up into his bag before he could fill in the holes. That's when John came to practice. Exactly. Blaze panicked and had no choice but to hide himself in the Mozilla costume nearby. To think you would deduce so much from just a pair of dirt-stained gloves. However, although this is merely a possibility, there's still no proof that he was the one who was hiding inside that costume. For all we know, he might have left the scene once he finished digging. On the contrary, such proof does exist and can be seen in the video. When this video was recorded, Blaze was definitely inside the film lot. What? But I can't blame Agent Lang for not noticing. The difference between the current film lot and the one in John's video, along with the state of Blaze's garage, it's all too clear that Blaze was still here. What proves that Blaze was still at the film lot when this video was recorded? Present the bag. I assume it means this bag. Can I get it just right on it? Come on! There. Please work. Yeah, it worked. Haha. This bag placed near the costume. There was an identical one inside Blaze's garage. First the dirt on the gloves, and now the bag. It seems there is a connection. Mechanics gloves data updated in my organizer. And that's my proof. Blaze was inside the costume. Ergo, the President's body could not have been hidden inside it. Hiya! Seems I was able to refute Agent Lang's reasoning. Someone needs to go investigate Blaze's house right away, pal. We need to know what was inside that bag. Yes, sir. Y'all pipe down and listen up. Y'all just been saying whatever works best for y'all. And the noisy one returns. That there's the footprints of the mighty Muzilla. They ain't just some random holes dug up by that old coot. Huh. I believe the true nature of these footprints has already been proven quite logically. Logic's smogic. I ain't buying it. Say what you want, but I know what I saw and I saw Muzilla. Is she referring to how she saw Muzilla out the window of the Grand Tower? Preposterous. Upon our journalist souls, we ain't having none of it. That statement is an insult to journalists everywhere. Ah, that's right. There's more to the monsters than just those footprints. I remember hearing that Sunny over there was seen with the monster earlier. I reckon that gal over there said she witnessed it herself. When these two are together, all meaningful talk grinds to a halt. If you only knew just what the monster really was, I think those two would quiet down. Miss Edgeworth, isn't there anything you can do? The monster's true identity. We don't have much choice. Let's see what we can do. Isn't there something y'all ain't telling us about the monster? Nicole, ask him. Ask him right now. Please settle down. Regarding the true identity of that monster, I already know what it is. What'd you say? That's right, the video John recorded provided the hint that I needed. What you talking about? Miss Nichols saw Gordy. But she went to check up on John's practice. At that time, she mistook something for Gordy. The monster can be seen in this photograph. What? Isn't that just some plain old souvenir photo? I don't really think you can pull the wool over the eyes of the pro like me, dear. What did Miss Nichols really see that she mistook for Gordy? Really? That's just nutso, but okay. Hopefully this works. It works. Naturally, Gordy's true identity was this camera crane. What? The video John recorded was shot from fairly high up. A shot from this position would be impossible without a camera crane. But there ain't no way Miss Nichols would mistake a camera crane for Gordy. Oh, it's covered in a sheet, of course. I wonder about that. Miss Nichols? Yes. Earlier you said the prescription for your glasses didn't match your eyesight anymore, correct? Yep, lately it seems like my eyesight has suddenly gotten a lot worse. So would you say that you weren't able to see Gordy very clearly in the dark? That's right. His silhouette was all I could make out. But remember what Mr. Nichols said? And I quote, "Its skin was really scaly, almost like a reptile." Camera cranes ain't got no flesh on them, let alone skin. It's just bare steel frame. That is certainly true, at least in the case of this photo. However, last night it did have skin. You're just doing whatever you can to get in the way of our big scoop, ain't you? That was not my intention. But since I've come this far, it's time to put an end to your nonsense. Gordy's skin is right before our very eyes. This is the skin of Gordy that Miss Nichols saw. There. As Miss Nichols stated in her testimony earlier, it looked like it was going to rain last night. Well, it never actually rained. John still covered the camera crane with a rainproof sheet, which to Miss Nichols looked like a monster's skin. What? Gotta be kidding me! Isn't that right, John? Man, you saw through it all. Not bad, old man. Fortunately, the Gordy that Miss Nichols saw was nothing more than an illusion. Not again. Looks like my dream has shriveled up and died once again. Mentor! Seems like things have finally settled down. Really thought the boy was hiding something from me. Because I had it all wrong. Now that we've figured out the true form of the monster, everyone seems refreshed. Actually, there's two people here who are totally bummed out. Agent Lang. The report is in, sir. We've got the results of President Huang's autopsy. Good. Show it to me. Contusions and bone fractures found across the body resulting from tremendous pressure. So this was the cause of death. In other words, he was crushed to death. I thought as much. Crime scene notes updated on organizer. The yellow stain on his chest is currently under investigation. It seems that gunpowder residue was found on his right hand. Sunflower residue? I didn't know the president was into gardening. No gunpowder residue. Traces of it are left behind when a gun is fired. Since it has been found on his right hand, it's possible that the president fired a gun. Gun, huh? We didn't find any guns when we investigated this area. Unexplained gunpowder residue? I'll have to look over the autopsy report later. Now then, Agent Lang. It seems we have our answer. The president did not die from falling off the roof of the Grand Tower. Rather, he died from being crushed under Mozilla's head. That yellow stain was the nose ring? Probably. I can't deny it. Looks like your logic was right after all. This means suspicions surrounding Miss Courtney should be cleared up, right? Yes, not only the cause of death, but the time of death proves her innocence as well. Judge Courtney met with the president 2 nights ago. However, according to the autopsy report, the time of death was around 11 PM last night. Mozilla's head also fell last night. Matches up perfectly. That's a relief. Ugh. Isn't it a bit too early to be relieved? Agent Lang? The president died after being crushed by the Mozilla's head. That I will admit. But the problem is, who was responsible for the falling head? Mozilla's head fell last night. And last night, the one who was at the film lot was... What are you saying? Surely you're not implying... That's right. You killed him, didn't you? John Marsh. That pup is hiding something. He was at the scene where the body was discovered last night. He also saw the footprints. And despite that, he still claims to know absolutely nothing about the incident. Isn't that a bit too convenient? These footprint-shaped holes have not been proven to be related to the case. Just because he saw the holes doesn't necessarily mean that he's involved in the incident. You sure about that? Take a look at the pup's face. He looks pretty shaken up to me. Looks like he hit the mark, but John doesn't want to talk about it. If he doesn't feel like talking, then I have an idea of my own. Let's check the tape. Agent Lang, where's your intention? Police have a device that lets you analyse the video footage up close and personal. Agent Lang, you would suspect John enough to go that far? As long as John's lips are sealed, this may be the only way for us to get closer to the truth. Detective Gumshoe, if I'm not mistaken, you have that device with you, correct? Mr. Analysis is ready to go, sir. Now we're talking. Prosecutor Edgeworth, would you please perform the video analysis for us? She wants me to do it. Who knows what kind of faults that Wolfman will find in it. This isn't exactly my strong suit, but I suppose I have no choice. Okay, I think I'm going to need my mouse for this. Are there any new clues shown on the video? So if we go up here and zoom... Whoa! Who is that person? This is... What's the matter? I want to see too! Eek! Hey, what's wrong? Show it to me. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I request you submit the evidence to the court. Please take a look at the top right corner of the zoomed in video. This person is... The President! Impossible! Huh? No way! It seems we finally found it at last, the evidence that points to the true killer. This video places John at a major disadvantage. You're wrong, that's not right. I didn't know anything about this. That's not gonna cut it. It's clear that you and the victim were together at the same place where his body was later found. John Marsh, there's no doubt, you killed the President. No! This can't be! Why would you? John! Please don't tell me. Did you really kill the President? Miss Edgeworth, is this really decisive evidence? Mr. Prosecutor, looks like even you can't object to this. That pup said he didn't know anything about... anything, right? I was going to say anything about anything, but... And yet the President's right here in the video. Ow! Oh, my wrist. John, what are you hiding? John, please tell us the truth. The truth is, it's all my fault. John Marsh, what did you do? Mozilla's head falling was all my fault. During the rehearsal. When I was setting up the equipment on the roof, I used the heater. After that I went down to practice, but I forgot to turn it off. Then my mum called me, so I left the film lot. When I came back to the lot after the phone call was over, Mozilla's head that was on the roof had fallen. Right next to it was the President, lying dead on the ground. How can that be? I see, there were indeed traces of that something had caught fire on the rooftop. It was just a small fire, so I was able to put it out by myself. So the President's death was John's fault? But wouldn't that make this an accident, sir? And then, what did you do with the fallen head? I took it apart, brought the pieces up to the roof and put it back together. So you put out the fire and even put the fallen head back on the roof. Which means you were hiding evidence. You can't be having that, you naughty little pup. I didn't do it on purpose. I did just forget to turn off the heater. When the legs broke, the stand would have tilted. If Mozilla's head was on the top of the stand, it would have fallen off. So the head fell down because of the fire. Yep, and if that's the case, I also have a pretty good idea what caused the fire. There's a flammable can next to the heater. It seems someone is lacking in safety awareness. Was it really just an accident? If that's the truth, then what was the President doing here? I don't know. There was no one else around when I was here. There. Everywhere. You expect me to believe that? The President wouldn't have just come to a place like this without a reason, you know. Indeed, the President's reason for coming here is still a huge mystery. 2 nights ago, he met with Judge Courtney on the roof of the Grand Tower. And last night, he was here at the film lots. Did he meet with John? I'll have to listen to John's testimony very carefully. Rebuttal! Okay, so we gotta go... And right next to it was the President, lying dead on the ground. Press. What was the state of the body? Did you get a good look? Because it was dark. It's suddenly become as quiet as a mouse. guess John doesn't really want to remember anything about the body. Is that the only reason why he's gone so quiet? Should I press him for more details? Press him further. You didn't get a good look? Then how did you know he was dead? That's... well... He's clearly shaken. He must be hiding something. Wouldn't you normally call for help if you see someone collapse on the ground? However, you did nothing of the sort. But he was already dead. Is that so? You seem quite certain that the President was already dead. Now, is there a reason for that, I wonder? The guy was collapsed on the ground. Right next to him was the fallen monster's head. I'm not stupid. It wasn't hard to imagine what happened. You can imagine whatever you want, but there was no way for you to know that he was dead. You actually checked to make sure the President was dead, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. I was scared, but I got up close to the body and checked to see if he was breathing. I thought as much. However, why would he hide that? There must be a reason. Please tell me the state of the body at that time. At first I didn't know he was dead. Would have realised sooner if there had been any blood. There wasn't a single drop, and his clothes were completely spotless. Either way, he wasn't breathing. That's how I knew he was already dead. Would you please append those statements to your testimony? I didn't know right away that he was dead. There was no blood and his clothes were spotless. Present the crime scene notes. His clothes were spotless. Yeah, that's right. You got a problem with that, old man? John, it is painfully obvious that you are desperately trying to hide something from me. What are you going on about? I'm not hiding anything. You are hiding something about this yellow stain on the President's clothes, correct? It wasn't from the nose ring, that's what I thought, but who knows. Why did you leave it entirely out of your testimony? The fact that you made no mention of it only serves to cast more suspicion upon yourself. And that's because... I hope you have a convincing explanation. Judge Courtney? Allow me to explain. Why are you... Yellow stain left on the President's chest is almost certainly lion lily pollen. Lion lily? When I met with the President on the roof of the Grand Tower 2 nights ago, I brought him a bouquet of lion lilies. Lion lilies are beautiful flowers with stunning golden petals. Some of the pollen from the lilies must have gotten on the President's suit. But I didn't see any lilies in the security footage though. They were simply obscured by the President's body. Why did you bring a bouquet? I cannot say. Hey, you're keeping way too many secrets. You won't tell us why you met with the President, or the reason you brought him flowers. My apologies, however, I did give him the bouquet. That much is true. But when the President's body was discovered, we didn't find any flowers. I honestly don't know how that could be. Hey, Miss Judge. All your answers have been too vague. You can't say this and you don't know that. Do you accept flimsy testimony like that in your trials? Hey, cut it out. John. Hey, threw the flowers away. You threw them away? So there were flowers near the body when you found it. Yeah, that's right. They were right on top of the President's body. They've been crushed as flat as pancakes, though. I see. So the flowers were squashed by Mozilla's head too. And a large amount of pollen got stuck to the President's suit. That seems to be the gist of it. However, why did you go out of your way to dispose of the flowers? No reason. So John's not going to tell us anything either. Guess mother and son both have a lot of secrets, huh? That is not true. At the very least, I can tell you why John threw away those flowers. Huh? John, you saw me leaving the house with those flowers in hand, did you not? I get it. John saw the flowers and thought of his mum. He threw them away in order to protect Judge Courtney from being suspected. That's not true. You're all wrong. That was his worst lie yet. Bouquet data jotted down in my organiser. Crime scene notes updated in my organiser. I often decorate our house with those flowers. The bouquet must have reminded him of me. So the pup just happens to find the flowers from his mother's bouquet on top of the body. That's why he threw them away and kept silent about the body. Ha! That's a tidy little story if I've ever heard one. And what's wrong with that? I suppose you prefer untidy, messy stories, Agent Lang. Don't tell me you've forgotten already, Missy. This pup confessed that he caused the monster's head to fall last night. Oh, that's true, but he's currently the only suspect in the President's murder. It's true that there are many reasons to suspect John. However, there is someone other than John who is far more suspicious. What did you say? John himself was kidnapped by that very person not too long ago. And we rescued him from the refrigerated warehouse near the harbour, pal. Refrigerated warehouse? That's right, pal. The refrigeration wasn't turned on, so he wasn't about to freeze to death. But if you hadn't yelled out for help, we would have never found him. Once the sleeping drugs wore off, he was finally able to call out for help. Sleeping drugs, huh? If I recall correctly, when you were kidnapped... That's right. There was a bottle lying on the floor of the refrigerated warehouse. I think it was the same thing that was used on me not long ago. That sleepy ZZZ stuff. Super powerful. Sleeping drugs data jotted down my organiser. How about it, Agent Lang? John is clearly a victim. There is a mastermind at work behind the scenes of this case. I don't know anything about this so-called mastermind. You say they were here last night? I still don't know for sure yet. Ha! It's not like you to be so vague, Mr. Prosecutor. Indeed, I still don't have any evidence that ties the mastermind to this murder. Is there someone else? Is there anyone besides John who had the opportunity to murder the President? That's it. As I thought, in the end, that pup is our only suspect. Isn't there one more suspect, Agent Lang? What's this? Didn't we prove it earlier? Last night, there was one more person here. Blaze the Best. He's saying he's the one who did it. Last night, John was not alone. Blaze the Best was here too. Shouldn't we consider him to be a new suspect? Blaze the Best. Kill the President? It's entirely possible. Blaze the Best. It can't be. Same guy from 12 years ago? 12 years ago? That keeps popping up. Well, a lot has changed. It all happened over 12 years ago. Back then, he and my old man were close friends, and our clan protected the President's life. Lang, don't tell me you're the one from 12 years ago. You got it. Ain't this nice? Now you're finally going to prison, where you belong. 12 years is a long time coming for a suspended sentence, don't you agree? Agent Lang, what happened 12 years ago? Nothing that concerns you. On the contrary, it might just have some sort of connection with this case. And I suppose you have some proof, Mr. Prosecutor? Show me evidence that there's a connection between this case and the one 12 years ago. Evidence, you say? If you don't have any evidence, then there's no point in talking about it. Is there any evidence that connects this case with what happened 12 years ago? Letter from unknown. This letter was sent to Jill Crane, who was murdered 2 days ago. Although the sender is currently unknown... Oops, here it is written as follows. Please get revenge for 12 years ago. What? 12 years ago? That's not all. Take a look at this as well. This is a report written by Patricia Rowland to Blaze the Best regarding Knightley. Please read this part here. That thing he laid to rest near the flower bed 12 years ago. Agent Lang, something big is happening here. Jill Crane's murder 2 days ago, and now the President's murder today. There has to be some connection there. And the key to solving it lies in what happened 12 years ago, does it not? You're asking me to reopen the old wounds of the Lang clan? Agent Lang, I beg of you. Oh, who's that? Who was that just now? Shifu! Oh, it's... You guys, what are y'all doing here? We followed you here, Shifu. We heard that Shifu was investigating the incident from 12 years ago. You idiots! I'm not your boss anymore. Get back to your own posts. Sir, we can't do that. What did you say? You disobey my order. Shifu, we also beg of you. Reinvestigate the SS5 incident from 12 years ago. Triple S incident. None of us could ever forget that case. We know you feel the same way, Shifu. Agent Lang, even your former subordinates decide to reinvestigate the case. And you think you can solve the mysteries of that case? Perhaps I can, with your help. I got it. I accept your invitation. Shifu! 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 Now then, with that decided, I guess it's my turn to shine. Okay? We're investigating a case from the past, right? And guess what the best tool for that is? The little Mr. Thief? Right, we have the case files from the past case, I can recreate it. Unfortunately, I don't have the case files. Ah! What do you mean? Access to those case files is restricted. It's being treated as highly classified information. Why is that? I don't know. It seems like there were a lot of things that they wanted to keep hidden. Even what I know is limited to what was published in the newspapers back then. That will not be a problem. In any case, please tell us what you know. Sure. The Triple S incident. The incident occurred on a winter day 12 years ago. It was the 10th of February. The police department in this country received a call from a group of kidnappers. We've kidnapped President Huang, they said. Kidnapped? The Triple S incident was the case of President Huang's kidnapping. Ah, so it's not that bad then, I can keep calling it the Triple S incident. They demanded a ransom of $100 million! $100 million! A terrible impersonation. 100 million? Wait, just how much is that? Such a large amount, she's having trouble visualizing it. That night, my old man was the last person to meet with the president. We were together at the Zengfa embassy until midnight on February 10th. After that, no one knows what the president was doing up until he was kidnapped. With the president's life at stake, the Zengfa government frantically gathered the money. After that, the ransom was delivered and the president was returned safe and sound. So, President Huang has been the president since 12 years ago? That's really amazing. Well, being in office for so long is just a small part of how amazing the man is. Lang seemed a bit happy when he said that. What happened to the kidnappers? Well, a top-secret covert investigation was carried out, then a secret trial was held. A trial? Does that mean the suspect was caught? The suspect was Patricia Rowland. Whoa, the game freaked out then. That the reason you came to the prison a few days ago... Yep, I was put on extended leave from Interpol. So I decided to go back and reinvestigate what happened 12 years ago. First I had to get a look at the face of my targets. So the trial 12 years ago ended with a not guilty verdict. Yeah. Back then my old man was in charge of every aspect of the president's security. He took responsibility for the kidnapping and was relieved of his post as bodyguard. But he continued to reinvestigate as a regular police officer, until they finally found the culprit. There was none other than Patricia Rowland. There was no way she could be innocent. However, the result was a not guilty verdict. In the end, the case went unsolved. Crushed in both body and soul, my old man resigned from the police. What was the basis for arresting Patricia Rowland? There was a lot of evidence, at least that's what I think. but I can't see those documents for myself. So that's where my story ends. What should we do? With only this much information. Even the little thief would have a hard time producing a recreation. Is there really nothing we can do? Who's that? Looks like you could use some help. Who's that? Hey, Franny. Francisca. And Mr. Shields too. We finished up with the trial and finally managed to catch up with you guys. Here, take this. This is... it's the case files for the S incident, sir. S incident files jotted down on my organizer. When Roland mentioned 12 years ago during the trial, it got my interest. I looked into it immediately and got in touch with Interpol. I expected no less from you, Francisca. Don't get the wrong idea, Miles Edgeworth. I didn't prepare these documents for you, the former prosecutor. I did it for the sake of the investigator taking up the case his father left behind. Sis. But I thought information on the S incident was restricted to the public. That restriction was placed by the prosecutor in charge of the case, Blaze the Best. Blaze the Best was the prosecutor in charge? Him. However, as a result of the trial just now, Blaze's authority has been revoked. Haha! It's all thanks to his son, Sebastian. By bringing down his father, the door to this past case has been opened. Prosecutor the Best is currently wrapping things up in Patricia Rowland's trial. He told me to relay this message to you. Leave Pops and his cohorts to me. You guys just take care of the case on your end. He's become quite reliable, right before our very eyes. Truly. Alrighty then. This is perfect. Now that we have the files, just leave the recreation to me. Indeed. Well then, let's begin. According to these documents, it appears that the incident took place right in front of the Tower Plaza. Let's head to the plaza right away. Is everyone going there? Because there's a lot of people. Oh my god, everyone went there. Christ, there's a lot of people. April 6th, 3:25 PM, outside Grand Tower, Tower Plaza. Okay, would you please activate the little Mr. Thief? Right, with these case files, recreating everything should be a snap. Where should I start? Well, indeed, according to these documents, it seems there was a witness to the kidnapping of the president. A freelance journalist by the name of Jack Cameron. Okay. However, he happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and was murdered by the culprit. That's not good. So that would mean the place he saw the president at was here. Here? At the Grand Tower? No, the Grand Tower was only built around a year ago, okay? Before that, this place contained mostly old abandoned buildings. Over 12 years ago, this place was... Ha! Now you're finally talking about some stuff that I know. Yep, 12 years ago, at this very spot was... the Happy Family Home. What's that, pal? It was a place where children who had lost their parents could live. Well, to put it simply, it was an orphanage. So the president was kidnapped at the orphanage. And the head of that facility at the time was Patricia Rowland. Apparently Rowland always referred to it as her home. It seems that suspicion would naturally fall upon her. Patricia Rowland, Blaze the Best, and President Wang. The darkness that remains from the S incident still casts a shadow on the present case, and there's a president again. Okay, I'd like you to input the investigation data from Jack Cameron's murder case. You can probably assume that he was killed by one of the kidnappers. So if we solve the murder case, we'll know who the kidnappers were, right? Precisely. I'm counting on you. Right. It's been an hour recording. I'm still going to keep going, but we have a whole investigation segment to go through. This is going to be fun, because it's long. Christ. It's definitely going to take about like an hour and a half, I bet. What the heck is this? Everything's green. I've come to expect such reactions. This is a recreation of the grounds of the facility that stood here 12 years ago, based on the documents from the police investigation. Recreate the scene to show what it looked like when the police arrived at 7 AM the next day. It appears a fair amount of snow had piled up here. Yeah, I heard that the footprints in the snow were prime pieces of evidence. The snow fell during the day on the day of the incident. So the snow only fell before the crime took place, which means the footprints wouldn't have been erased by any further snow. Must make sure to pay close attention to these footprints. This sounds like another case involving snow and footprints, and when did it actually snow? Anyway, begin investigation. Orphanage front yard. Okay, look at these left ones. These footprints stop near the body. Must be Mr. Cameron's footprints. You sure are some big feet. Look like a size 11. According to the data, his shoes match these footprints. Okay, now the right ones. Footprints here seem to lead to and from the body. These footprints were believed to be the culprits. The shoe size is about a size 7. That's fairly average. Seems we won't be able to tell who the culprit is from these footprints. I'm about a size 8 myself. And the body. Can we just get... No, the body, please. There we go. So this is the eyewitness of the president's kidnapping, Jack Cameron. Who exactly did he witness? Recreated the state of his body based on the photos taken by the police. It appears he was struck in the head from behind. The murder weapon was a brick, right? Looks like the ones from this garden. The blood that flowed from his head has splattered all over the surroundings area. I was going to say surrounding area, but it's just surroundings. I was like, okay, take this. It's Mr. Cameron's autopsy report. Cameron's autopsy report, jotted down in my organiser. Wrong rest, I suppose everybody's looking at cranny. The flower in the upper left corner. That one. The yellow flower has fallen here. In the language of flowers, it means a stolen treasure. Okay, please stop making things up. Still, this flower seems to be of a different variety from the ones growing nearby. Well then, why is it in a place like this? This bothers me a little. We should examine the flower bed itself after this. I know it. Someone must have stolen this from somewhere and brought it here. Okay. In the language of flowers, this means an angry prosecutor. The phone. Oh, it's there. I assume this is the victim's cell phone. That's right. Apparently Mr. Cameron gave his eyewitness testimony over the cell phone. What do you mean by over the cell phone? After Cameron found the president, it seems that he recalled his girlfriend. But she didn't answer the phone, so Cameron left a message on her answering machine. The tape is in the case files too. You want to hear it? Please. I need a drink. Sorry. Hello. Oh, yeah, hello, Jill. You asleep already? I'm in front of the facility now, but something's not right. President Wang is here, of all places, and what's more... Crap, the light just went off. I can barely see a thing now. I can't believe it, but it almost looks like he's being kidnapped. I thought that, you know... Well, what was that sound at the end? It seems he was attacked while he was still on the phone. Agent Lang, may I ask... What was the name of Mr. Cameron's beloved? I'm pretty sure I heard her name was Jill Crane. Oh. So it was true. Did you see Jill? This was why she was seeking revenge for 12 long years. Yes. It all comes together. The feelings and the items Miss Crane inherited from her beloved brought her to the auction. She had come to exact revenge on the conductor, Blaze. But Miss Crane tried to get revenge on Blaze, right? She may have wanted to get revenge on him for covering up the kidnapping case. Perhaps she thought Blaze himself was the kidnapper. Cameron's testimony jotted down an organiser. Why didn't they say data? Oh, that's weird. That was itself. The body itself. Jack Cameron was a freelance journalist. He was killed because he witnessed the president's kidnapping. The blood really stands out in the recreation. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Even in the original photo, it looks brutal enough. A lot of blood was spilled. The back of his head is covered in blood. Must be where all the blood spilled from. According to the autopsy reports, he was struck in the back of the head with a brick. Indeed, it's likely that the killer approached with the camera from behind. Huh? Is the victim holding something in his right hand? Also written in the case. That's also written in the case files. Seems he was holding only a button. Onto a button that kind of. I thought it was a Pokeball at first. A button? Did he tear it off the culprit's clothes? Blood-stained button, data, jotted down my organism. So I decided to say data. That was weird. But the other one didn't. Anyway. The camera. The victim was carrying a camera. According to the case files, it seems he only managed to take a single photo. Here it is. Oh, this is... Isn't that the president? He's being held at gunpoint. This must be the scene the victim witnessed. The person in the coach must be the kidnapper. Indeed, it seems like some sort of disguise. The logic of Agent Lang's father is correct. Now, this person should be Patricia Rowland. But why is there only one photo? Perhaps he was killed before he could take any more. Cameron's photo data jotted down my organizer. I never used to have a problem saying data jotted down, but now I just keep saying Jata. Examine the camera, examine the brick. This is the brick that was used as the murder weapon. Oh, murder weapon brick. Found near Cameron's body. Did it come from the facility grounds? Logic added. You can find bricks like this all over the garden. Must have used one of them as a weapon. And we're done looking there, I'm pretty sure. It says leave the body and examine the left flower bed. Okay, so we've got to go all the way around. Flower bed. According to the data, this facility had 3 gardens. If you could call those gardens. And each of these gardens contained 3 flower beds. Flower beds. Facility had 3 gardens. Each one had 3 square-shaped flower beds. Logic added. The way these flower beds are lined up. Have I seen this arrangement somewhere before? Since it was during the winters, there were no flowers in bloom. What a shame. What's this yellow flower? Huh? Why is there a single flower here? That is a lion lily. It's a very rare type of lily. Did you say lion lily? That's a flower Miss Courtney gave to the president. What's it doing here? Could it be just a coincidence? If I recall, the lion lily originates from Asia. In the language of flowers, it means the bond between parent and child. I never knew you were so familiar with flowers. That much is common sense. You're simply lacking in your studies, Miles Edgeworth. Bond between parent and child, eh? Anyway, logic. 3-foot plinths, flower beds. Pretty sure. Yes? Yes. Perhaps this is the true nature of the monster's footprints. True nature? Compare the positions of the 3 footprints and the 3 flower beds on the left. I can't speak at all. Exposed areas of dirt match the areas where the flower beds were. So Blaze dug holes in front of where each of the 3 flower beds were used to be. Exactly. Now why would he do such a thing? I believe we have a piece of evidence that tells us why. Why did Blaze dig holes in the ground near the flower beds? Where would it be? It's not this way. No. Ah, there it is. Report on nightly. Report from Patricia Rowland to Blaze the Best. It said that something was laid to rest in front of the flower bed. So Blaze was following Miss Rowland's instructions to dig it up. But why would he dig up 3 holes? The report didn't state which of the 3 flower beds the item was in front of. Oh, so Blaze didn't know exactly where to dig. That's why he had to dig up all 3 spots. Most likely, yes. I'm sure Blaze himself was none too happy about that. He went through all that trouble. I wonder what he was trying to dig up. What did Blaze dig up? Instruction Instructed by Patricia, something was dug up near the flower beds. Logic added. Right, now we've got to talk to Agent Lang. Three flower beds and snow. Agent Lang, what's the matter? Something strange. I wasn't able to read the SSS incident case files until now, since Blaze had all access to that information restricted. Yeah, that's right. And yet, I feel like I've seen this exact scene somewhere before. What do you mean? Where did I see this? If I could just remember. He looks deep in thought. I should leave him alone for a while. Do I leave him alone? Yes, I do. Okay. Examine the burnt left pillar in front of the orphanage's entrance. Can I just get around this way? Aha! There has been a fire here. This pillar appears to be burnt. According to the files, it seems there was a fire on the evening of the incident. A fire? Let's see here. Huh? It says that one of the children at the orphanage spilled kerosene and set it on fire as a prank. I guess that kid had far too much energy. Now thanks to that, we can't make out any of the footprints near the main hall. Fire data jotted on my organizer. We've learned pretty much all that we can about the situation at the time of the murder. Oh, in that case, is there another scene you'd like to recreate? Yes, would you do the honours? I would like you to recreate the scene when the victim witnessed the president's kidnapping. Right, I'll recreate the scene based on Mr. Cameron's photo. See, I'd love to see the little thief in one of the newer Ace Attorney games because of the whole 3D technology and stuff. It looks so cool. But no, we just don't see any Miles Edgeworth characters in the later Ace Attorney games. Mr. Cameron is standing in the middle of the flower beds. Well, he really wasn't hiding, was he? And the president and his kidnapper are standing on the road. Well, man based his initial investigation on this man's eyewitness testimony. As a result, it led him to believe that the kidnapping and this facility were related. And that's how he came to suspect the head of the orphanage, Patricia Rowland. Yeah. But in court, Blaze the Best treated this testimony as if it meant nothing. Why would he do that? The president and his kidnapper were not standing inside the orphanage grounds, so a connection between the orphanage and the kidnapping was difficult to prove. I see. It's not like they were seen inside the orphanage, after all. No matter how much evidence the detectives gather at the crime scene, it doesn't mean squat if the prosecutor won't use it in court. Blaze the Best had some kind of connection with Patricia Rowland. I figured they had some kind of deal going on. In other words, you think that Blaze was one of the kidnappers. Was Blaze a kidnapper? Blaze and Patricia found not guilty. Were they partners in crime? Logic added. However, your father was convinced that Patricia Rowland was the culprit. Your father was a highly capable investigator, I presume. Might he have had some other basis for his conclusion besides the eyewitness testimony? Yeah, I figure he did, but I have no idea what it was. My old man never really talked much about this case. Agent Lang's father, Daylong Lang, President Huang's most trusted confidant. The truth he discovered was suppressed by Blaze the Best. First, we must find that hidden truth. Well, to start with, I think we've got logic. Do we have logic? What did Blaze dig up, and was Blaze a kidnapper? There we go. Scroll down in my... Can I scroll down my guide? Please let me scroll in my guide. Thank you. There we go, that makes it easy for me. If we suppose that Blaze was one of the kidnappers, it becomes more likely that what he dug up yesterday is connected to the abduction. Ah! What is it? I figured it out. It was treasure. Treasure! Couldn't Blaze have dug up the ransom money? The $100 million ransom. Buried in the ground until the heat had died down. It's certainly possible. I know, right? Maybe. Monster's footprints data updated in my organizer. Okay, examine the standing figures on the streets. So, just these guys. Oh! going right through him. Hello! Sorry. I won't rest as a special. Wait, where the hell was I? The deuce, the handprint, and the snowman's. Oh no, examine the handprint, sorry. Yeah, ahead of myself. Examine the handprint. Close enough. How about this snowman? When I recreated the scene where Mr. Cameron was killed, it had already melted. His scarf was all soggy, and one of his button eyes was missing. Indeed, at this stage, it appears that most of its original form was still intact. Although there's one spot that looks unnaturally lacking. Poor thing, I bet some naughty kid must have plucked it off. Although from a thief's perspective, that kid does have some promise. Was he plucked off by one of the children at the orphanage? No, perhaps it was taken by an entirely different person altogether. Deduce. Where is it? The button! This snowman. Won't you say it's missing something? Ah, its right eye is missing. Precisely. What's more, that missing eye happens to be in our possession. The button that Mr. Cameron was holding on to. It's got the exact same design as the snowman's left eye. If we assume this button was indeed the snowman's eye, a huge contradiction arises. If this button is the snowman's eye, what contradiction arises? The location of the victim, the location of the snowman, the location of the president. The location of the victim. The victim was holding onto the button. Furthermore, the button was stained with blood. In other words, he grabbed the button after he was attacked. For example, if we were to picture it in this way, after being struck in the back of the head, Mr. Cameron lost his balance. As he was falling, he reached out his hand towards the nearby snowman. However, it could not support his weight, and he collapsed while still grasping the button. Huh? That means Mr. Cameron was near the snowman when he was attacked. Indeed, at the very least, he must have been within arm's reach. However, it's quite clear that he would not have been able to reach it from his current position. But Mr. Cameron's footprints only lead towards the flower bed. Can we be certain that those footprints really are Mr. Cameron's? It seems we'll need to investigate them one more time. Understood. I'll recreate the time the body was discovered scene one more time. And flashback. Or I guess forwarded in the case of the recreation, but you know. These footprints should match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes, right? Let's inspect them again. These footprints, are they really Mr. Cameron's? They're from size 11 shoes, and though these huge footprints match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes, when a higher look at it, they're moving steadily towards the centre of the flower beds. When Mr. Cameron was attacked, he grabbed the button from the snowman. Even with a great thief's peak human conditioning, your arm just can't stretch that far, unless you're what's-his-name from Space Jam. Let alone an ordinary civilian, it'd be completely impossible. The footprints come from the shoes worn by the victim, just as the case files say. However, does that mean Mr. Cameron was the owner of these shoes? We should re-examine Mr. Cameron's shoes. Is that what we do? Examine the body? Yeah. Let me have the body. Is that... Yeah, that works. Good. But the shoes... The shoes should match the footprints. However... These shoes, it seems like they were not the ones originally worn by the victim. What do you mean? If you look closely, you'll see the laces were tied up strangely. And the size doesn't seem to fit quite right either. Victim's shoes data jotted on an organizer. That would mean these huge footprints leading up to the victim's feet were most likely made by someone other than the victim. So then the footprints leading to and from the victim's head must be Mr. Cameron's. No, not necessarily. They seem a little too small to be the victim's footprints. So none of the footprints are his? Then which way did Mr. Cameron walk from? It's quite simple. The victim did not walk here on his own accord, but rather he was carried here after he was murdered by the culprits. The body was moved. There are signs that Cameron's body was carried from somewhere. Logic added. Question now becomes, where was he killed and carried from? Perhaps it was near the snowman after all. If we leave this guy, let's go have a look at the snowman who's melted. Oh, he's so sad. His camera's body was moved if we considered the button he was holding onto. It's highly likely that he was killed near this snowman. Should take a closer look. Cranny. Right. It said, examine the gap in the bricks around the plants. Oh yeah, there is a missing gap. That's where the brick comes from. Huh? There's a brick missing here. Missing brick. One of the bricks near the snowman is missing. Logic added. The rest are all in order. It's strange that only this one is missing. Okay, logic time. Middle weapon, brick, missing brick, connect. Perhaps the missing brick was the one used as the murder weapon. Brick near the snowman. The brick used to kill Cameron was from near the snowman. Logic added. Ah! Yeah, it seems to be just the right size to fit in that gap perfectly. And then, body was moved, brick near snowman, connects. Maybe that's the last time we have to do any logic? I doubt it, but... as I thought, it seems the murder actually occurred near the snowman. Both the button Mr. Cameron was holding and the murder weapon came from there. Indeed. Also, if we assume that the killer picked up the brick near the snowman and then tried to sneak up behind Mr. Cameron, well, Mr. Cameron totally would have seen the person picking up the brick. Exactly. Okay, please update the recreation. Mr. Cameron was not in the middle of the flower beds, but near the snowman. Oh god, I'm burping. Okay, I'm on it. Oh, I'm dying over here. Oh, sorry, I thought she was going to do the whole holding the thing open thing, but no. Examine the blue... The group of figures are facing blue. No matter how you look at it, this is strange. All the people involved in the case are gathered in the same place. Did we make a mistake here or something? One piece of evidence this recreation is based on is odd. I had to choose which piece of evidence is fake. Which piece of evidence is likely to be fake? What happened? Oh, let's go down there. Photo. I think. Yes. Was this photo really taken by Mr. Cameron? Ah! What do you mean? We've proven that whoever killed Mr. Cameron also moved the body. For what reason would they have to deliberately move his body? Perhaps the culprit wanted to falsify the scene that Mr. Cameron witnessed. That's why they took a fake photo? They made the president stand under the streetlights and took a photo with Cameron's camera. It would have been quite simple. Now you mention it, Mr. Cameron's camera only had one photo on it, right? Indeed, in all likelihood, the original roll of film had been removed from the camera. After loading a new roll of film into the camera, the fake photo was taken. I see. So this photo must have been taken after Mr. Cameron was killed, right? Camera's photo data updated in organizer. Exactly. This was not the scene Mr. Cameron actually witnessed. It's likely that this photo is forged evidence. And where did Mr. Cameron witness the president and his kidnapper from? The photo isn't the only piece of evidence that indicates what Mr. Cameron witnessed. The testimony left on the answering machine. Precisely, we should listen to the recording one more time and confirm what was said. Where else could the president and his kidnapper have been? Presents the area by the upper left lamppost and burned pillar. There? Oh, thank God it worked. Mr. Cameron said this on the answering machine. The light just went off. I can barely see a thing now. There are only two places here where the lights are broken. The light by the orphanage. Okay, could you please update the recreation? Roger. This is... so the kidnapper was near the orphanage. Indeed, with this, we've shown the connection between the orphanage and the kidnapping. So that's why they moved the body and took a fake photo to create false testimony. Also removing the suspicion towards the orphanage in court. With this, the state of the recreation has changed completely. The time the body was discovered scene has probably been greatly impacted as a result. Let's go check it out, right away. Preparations are ready. Since the state of the recreation has changed once again, I should press the Y button and select Change Recreation. Let's give it a try. Wait, can I actually... I'm just going to click on the screen. Because I don't know what button I'd actually have to press, you know. Yeah, what's up? Change Recreation. So I want me to recreate the scene based on the police... I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, actually. I'm not reading the guide here. Oops. Oh yeah, I do have to change it. I want to recreate the scene based on the police investigation data. This is the time the body was discovered, when the police were investigating the scene. Recreate the scene? Okay. Examine the original location of the body by the flower beds. Why was there blood there then? That is a thing. Yes, I know. Okay, examine the blood stain. Yes, why is there blood? The blood splatter above the snow. It certainly was a substantial amount. It's almost as if the murder was actually committed here. Mr. Cameron should have been attacked near the snowman. Exactly. In that case, this blood must belong to someone else. What? But the police report said this was Mr. Cameron's blood. The one in charge of this case was Blaise de Best. It would have been simple for him to falsify that information. But wouldn't it be faster to just clear up the bloodstains rather than falsify the information? Wouldn't it be able to do that? Think about it. Blaise knew that Mr. Cameron's body would be discovered here, in which case the forensic department would naturally become involved. Ah! Luminol reaction. They would have discovered it with the power of science. Precisely. It would have been difficult to completely erase all traces of the blood. However, falsifying the results of a blood test would be much easier in comparison. You would just have to switch the results from the forensic reports. Oh, what a bummer. Knowing those documents I read were falsified. It looks like Mr. Cameron's clothes were completely soaked in blood. And if the blood scattered here onto Cameron's clothes, that would mean at the time the bloodstains here had not dried yet. I see, so then this certain somebody's blood was splattered here just a short while before Mr. Cameron was murdered. Indeed, that's exactly right. However, if that's the case, wouldn't a new contradiction arise in this recreation? Mysterious bloodstain, data jotted down the organizer. And we're gonna deduce the bloodstain with fire. This is a clear contradiction. Huh? You mean this bloodstain? Do you see how this bloodstain is broken up by the remains of the fire? This is proof that the fire occurred after the blood had scattered around the area. Huh? But I thought the fire occurred before the murder. It seems that information is suspect as well. If the fire had broken out after the murder, then the child who started the fire should have seen the body and the bloodstains. Why then did they not come forward as a witness? It's likely that would have put Blaise at a great disadvantage. Guess we'll need to investigate this fire in more detail. Hey you! Yes sir. There should be some records of the fire in the police department under a different case file. I want you to bring me every last investigation report about the fire. Understood, Shifu. Oh, and one more thing. What is it, sir? Contact the House of Lang in Zhengfa. There should be evidence from this case in my old man's room. What do you mean? I just remembered. Why, I recognise this scene. A long time ago I saw a picture in my old man's room. It was a drawing resembling this scene. What did you say? However, I think it looked like something a child drew. A child? And the artist may have been the culprit behind the fire. It should still be somewhere in my old man's room. Have them send it over here. Understood, sir. He's off. Investigation complete! And back to reality. No, he's back. Shifu, I'm back. I brought the info on the fire the kid started and a photo of the drawing in your father's office. And also... Oh god, I'm dying. I'm waiting for this. Hurry up and hand him over. The information held by Agent Lang's father. This is it. It's exactly what I remembered. This was the picture drawn by the child depicting the night of the incident. Oh, sorry, that was Edgeworth asking the question. I thought it was Lang saying, Sure looks like it was drawn with the child's touch. As I thought, the one who drew this is most likely the child who started the fire. Child's drawing data jotted on organizer. Shifu! What now? Sorry, but it's gonna have to wait. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Why do you think my old man had this? Perhaps he obtained it during the course of his investigation into the incident. Although I don't know why he would have concealed it. Agent Lang, might I be able to see the details of the fire? Yeah, sure. Allow me to read it post-haste. The boy who started the fire struck out of bed on the night of the incident. It seems this boy went missing several days later. What? Don't tell me that he witnessed something he shouldn't have. That's horrible. He was only a child after all. While I'd hate for that to be the case, we can't rule out the possibility entirely. Huh? Apparently the boy left some stuff behind at the orphanage, and it was taken as evidence. What's this? That's... What's that doing here? Huh? Mr. Prosecutor? Do you recognise this? Yes. I know one piece of evidence that's related to it. Which evidence is related to what the boy left behind? Where is it? The Mozilla doll. The missing horn. Don't know what it's doing here. But isn't that the missing horn from this Mozilla doll? No way, you mean this came off the president's... You know that? Yeah, I've noticed the president kept it close by as a decoration. I always thought it was strange how one of the horns was missing. If you twist the horn, this doll will play back any previously recorded audio. So if we put the missing horn back in place, we might be able to hear a different recording. Indeed, it is possible. The doll is currently on the 51st floor of the Grand Tower. Hey, you heard that right? Yes sir, I'll be right back. So I'm glad I didn't send everybody else up there to get it. Shifu, I've got it! The mighty Mozilla doll! Hold on, give it to the prosecutor over there. If we insert the horn found at the orphanage into the doll, it's a perfect fit. Well, can you hear anything? Mr. Huang, it's Amy. It's been a while. I saw the news that you would be coming to this country. I was really nervous about doing this, but I decided to send you a message. Please stop the playback! Judge Courtney? What's wrong? Stop it! Now! It's a boy, your son. He's just been born. I'm sorry. That's all I wanted to tell you. His name is John. John Marsh. It's a fine name for him, don't you think? Ah! Marsh? Did she say John? I'll be waiting in the courtyard at the orphanage at midnight on February 9th. If it's just once, I want John to be able to meet you. I'm sorry if I'm being selfish, but I'll be waiting. No way. That was my... John. What's the meaning of this, Miss Courtney? John is not my biological son. He's adopted. Did John know about this? Of course he knew. John's mother, Amy Marsh, passed away about 5 years ago. She and I were cousins. Since we were young, we've always been really close. We were often mistaken for sisters. That's why when she passed away, I thought it was only natural that I look after John. Also, there were circumstances which prevented me from revealing his father's identity. Never even told John his father's name. And now it's all been revealed, thanks to the recording on that doll. Did John's mother send the doll to the president? Hey, John, was he, the president, really my dad? Yes, he was. Before you were born, Amy worked as a diplomat in Zengfa. A diplomat? So that must be how she became acquainted with President Huang. Hang on, you told me she worked at the orphanage? Yes, after returning to this country, Amy left her job as a diplomat. She always had great passion for charity work, so she began working at the orphanage. Hey, Miss Courtney. So this Amy girl, she called the president there herself, but she never showed up at the scene of the Triple S incidents. What's with that? Amy couldn't make it. Apparently, someone had been following her the whole night. Perhaps it was Blaze. I can't say for certain, but it's possible that it was his doing. After that, Amy never got another chance to see the president again. So she died 5 years ago. This conversation must be painful for John. Oh right, hey John, you thirsty? How about I buy us both some juice? We can go together. I'm a part of this too. I'll listen until the end. Besides, I can afford to buy my own juice. Shot down by a kid. John, do you understand the reason I met with the president 2 days ago? The secret meeting from 2 nights ago? I wanted to tell him about Amy's death and that you were alive and well. But I see. That's why you couldn't tell us your reasons for meeting with the president until now. I get it. You would have had to reveal his connection with John. I brought a bouquet of lion lilies, so that he would understand I truly did know about Amy. Those flowers are a dear memory to the president and Amy. The first present she received from the president was the bouquet of lion lilies. But now, even he has passed away. If only he was still alive! Perhaps I could have introduced him to John. Shifu! I'm sorry to interrupt this atmosphere, but there's something I need to say. Oh, is it now? Can this wait? Well, actually there's one last item that's been delivered here from Zengfa. I have here the President's will. What? The President's will? The old man received a great number of special medals from the President himself. As a token of his trust, the President left his will in the protection of the Lang clan. Those medals and that will, they were the pride of our clan, our family treasures, so to speak. This is... Agent Lang, does that will have something to do with the current case? You bet it does. It says here, I hereby acknowledge John Marsh as my own son. What? John's name is in the President's will? Are you certain that will was written by the President? Yeah, he entrusted it to the Lang clan even before the Triple S incident took place. They'll have to appraise it back home, but by the name of the Lang clan, this is the real deal. Dijun Huang was the president of an entire nation. The existence of his son would have caused considerable controversy. However, he left behind a will just in case. This makes it doubly sure. I still can't believe it myself, but there's no room for doubt. John Marsh, you are the son of Dijun Huang, president of Zengfa. How many people are going to go through? Okay, just them. We don't have to do like lottery, Nicole. John! John! To be continued. Took it long enough. An hour and 35 minutes. Oh, that was a long one, but... not the longest. Wow, some revelations there. He was actually the son of the president and not actually of Courtney. Woo! Wow. And turns out that he technically, I guess, did kind of murder his dad by the fire and everything. But, still an accident, so that's okay, I guess. And then stuff was buried in that place. It was good to see Little Thief again so we could see how the stuff was buried, because back in the day there wasn't concrete everywhere, there was just gardens and stuff, and it was an orphanage, which... kind of bad that they tore down an orphanage just to build a giant massive tower. It's like, I think an orphanage would have still been better, but you know. Anyway, we'll see what happens next time, see if Edgeworth can catch up to John and drag him back to the crowd before he gets kidnapped again. And I think there's only 2 more parts left. Is it 2 more parts or is it 3 more parts? No, 2 more parts left. The next one should hopefully be shorter. Should hopefully be less than an hour because there's only 2 testimonies to do in it. But you never know, this game likes to add a lot of dialogue into it. But then I do know the last one, again, might be about an hour and a half, despite the fact that it is still short in the guide, but again, lots of dialogues. I think the last part will also be about an hour and a half, maybe getting close to 2 hours, we'll see, but again, there are 2 parts left of this game. So, thank you for watching, I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.